hanging out with Peter Britten. He was here nice and early at Land of Legends Raceway. Of course, Pepsi, once again, on the side of his 21A. Our good friend from Australia joins us. He's got about 12 races so far this year. Won a race down in Florida. He also ran the Super Dirt Car Series races, Albany, Saratoga, and New Egypt, and he will get his first race of the year here at Land of Legends. So how you been?
Been good, yeah. Like everybody else, just waiting for the rain to finish up and a little bit anxious to go out and turn some laps, you know?
We know this place pretty well at this stage of the game, don't we?
Yeah, I guess if whatever I don't know now, I'm probably not going to learn at any point. But in saying that, everything changes all the time, and I'm sure, I guess I got that guardrail out there this year in 3 and 4 now, so we'll see how that affects it. But yeah, essentially I like racing around here, and I've got it somewhat figured out. So, it's just a matter of, like anything, it's about getting comfortable and making them little gains that just get you from being a good car to winning races, and that's if we can figure those little things out and me, myself, get comfortable, then, we'll probably be in for some good races.
Nice. Tale of bad luck pretty much here last year. Did we lose, 2 motors or 1?
1 motor. Well, yeah, we blew up 1 earlier in the year, and then at the Gerald Hares, I was losing oil pressure in another one, so we had to, luckily I didn't hurt that one as it turns out. Yeah, we had to switch to a backup car, because if I was going to keep running it was going to probably, make some holes in the side of the block.
Did it get the bearings and stuff then and needed a rebuild?
Luckily, we had a pump going bad, and it just seemed like it, like I said, I caught it before we did any main damage, yeah.
Wow, that hardly ever works, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of the time you do get a little bit of an inkling or a little bit of evidence to say that, hey, you've got something that's going to happen here, and I mean, there are times where they just come out of nowhere and something breaks and nothing you can do about it, but a lot of the time with good maintenance and, a watchful driver, you can hopefully catch things before they, turn into a big problem.
What was your evidence? What did you feel or hear that let you know?
This one, I was losing oil pressure,
so you saw the gauge going down?
Yeah, watching the gauge, as I'm going down the back straightaway, it wasn't as high as what it should have been, so we never lost oil pressure, but it was, in the warmer the oil got, the less pressure we had, and that just tells you that you got something going on.
Well, doesn't it always kind of go down a little bit, like when you're off it through the corners a little bit, if you were to watch it?
Yeah, like it does fluctuate, obviously, and that's why we got idiot lights in the car, so, and depending on, I run pretty good gauges in my car, so there's a couple of different levels you can set, like the warning lights that come on, you can get like an initial light, then a secondary light.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Then oh shit, turn it off light.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. So it's sometimes a little bit extra money invested in some gauges can
save you tens of thousands. Yeah. How about the series Albany, Saratoga? I heard the track was a little bit different than it was normally.
Yeah, which it typically is, and any early season races, the tracks are a little different to what they would normally be, I guess. But yeah, the track was, for a series race, it always seems like it's a little different, whether the Lyle does a little bit different prep for it or, obviously you got more big blocks on the racetrack too, so that's always going to hurt a track differently to how it would on a normal night, and the hot laps and time trials. So before you even get to the heat races, the tracks have a lot of laps on it already.
That's true.
So I'm sure you have to do different things, to prepare for that.
Point.
But yeah, either way, that wasn't our night. We were okay early on and put ourselves in the feature, but ended up breaking a rocker about 5 laps in. So it just, unfortunately, it just wasn't our night.
Can you fix rockers, or do we bring those back to the builder?
Typically, as long as it's a clean break and you catch it early enough, you can just do a straight swap for a new one. Yeah.
So you did that?
Yep.
Okay. New Egypt. I saw one of Mandy Pouch's videos. They had a drone that kind of went over the track from turn 4. I've only seen videos from the grandstand, but from above, that is I'd never seen a track quite like that.
It's basically like a mini Talladega, right?
Is that what it is?
Little
a backwards Talladega, though, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Backwards, yeah. But yeah, it's an interesting track, and
fun.
Yeah. It's like any track's fun when it's prepped so you can race.
And when your car's working too.
Yeah, that too. When you're running well, it's more fun. But, for us, we got a little bit behind in time trials, and unfortunately the track was pretty one lane in the heat race, and we started on the outside and just, got shuffled back, and, your night doesn't get much better from that when it's hard to pass. And that's a problem sometimes with early season racing, is to try and keep the track from being a cornfield, you almost have to have it too slick, and
well, especially early in the year.
Yeah, and then it just becomes a track position game, and no one likes that, but unfortunately that's just how racing is sometimes.
Okay. So here, Albany, Saratoga in the series, anything else?
We'll hit and miss some sporadic stuff depending on what pops up and what makes sense at the time, but yeah, essentially that's the plan. And obviously like probably going to do Middletown again, those races. We'll see how things are going, but I'm hoping that we can run well enough so I can keep pulling off going to more races.
Okay.
So,
is your little big brother coming back this year, or no?
He is actually.
Oh yeah, he's going to race again.
I just talked to him the other night, and
awesome.
he's going to be coming over at the end of the month, actually.
Fantastic. So that'll be fun.
Not be too long till he's here again. Yeah.
Of course, he's got the business to run, right?
He's working at home. Yep, they're still doing the Troyer dealership, and they sold some cars last year, so he's actually coming back over, and they're putting another container together and sending a fresh batch of cars back to Australia. So,
nice. Yeah. I want to thank Batesels Automotive and Batesels Hot Rods for helping us get around the track today. Make sure to subscribe, turn on those notifications. We had 4,000 subscribers last week, so we're on our way to 5. Peter, you have fun today, okay? And hopefully you won't be looking at any of those gauges tonight. Just be worried about tire wear and what position you are. Have fun, man.
Yeah, we already we were starting down the back tonight. Had a bad pill draw, so we'll make it interesting.
It'll make it more fun in the heat race, right?
It'll make it more rewarding, right?
I like that. Good to see you, man. Thank you.
Thanks, Doug.